Okay, we're on the way to a job this morning, not at the railroad, but it is something we do fairly often, and that's boxcar door repair. The boxcar fleet doors take a beating. Guys open them with fork trucks. They're in a hurry. They bend the doors. They bow the doors. They damage the track that the door runs on. So we'll get a call. We can't close the door. The railroad won't pull the car. The car's in the way. Come fix it. So the railroad will take this car out of here. And this call is unusual in that they were afraid to open the door anymore, and it was still loaded with paper. Their fear was the door was going to fall off, literally fall off the car. Well, we couldn't get access into the building. The railroad wouldn't pull the car with paper in it and the door open, and the paper company wouldn't move the door anymore to unload the paper. So for a day it was, what are we going to do here to solve this? Well, in the end, the paper company had to open the door to get the paper out, and you know what? The door fell off. So instead of us going to fix the door and then open it properly, the goal now is inspect the door, see what we can do with it, and probably secure it inside the boxcar and send it back to its home shop for proper repair. We can do proper repair, but these are leased cars. It's not the user's job to fix it. It's not the railroad's, and we only get involved because the car can't move till somebody fixes it. So that's what we're doing today. Got a nice cup of coffee. Speaking of coffee, some viewer comments we'll go through while we're driving, because we got to drive. It takes X amount of time, so why not do two things at once? Benny Hazelwood says, I drink coffee when it's 100 degrees. Good for you, man. Man's man. 100-degree coffee drinker. We're going to talk a little bit about locomotives. Got a couple notes here. Shortline 614 recommends a TP56 for a locomotive, and that is a switcher built on an SD40 truck. I've never seen one of these in person. I've seen them in videos, and I think I went to their website. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think they take a 6-axle SD truck, just the truck, build a locomotive on top of it that doesn't swivel in any way. It's permanently mounted to the truck frame, and then in it is a diesel generator providing current to the traction motors. That looks really neat. Don't know about its performance. I think it's a great idea. Dave found an 80-tonner without 747s. 747's the one with the hypoid gearing. That was a weak link. I've owned a couple of those. Probably wouldn't ever do that again. If he found an 80-tonner without 747s, it's possible that it's an old military 80-tonner with 833 traction motors, and I'm interested in that and knowing where it is and more about it. Let me go through a couple more of these and we'll stay on the topic. Okay, Michael Barron likes GE center cabs. Big fan of them. I do too. GE center cab industrials, which probably is my favorite category. Every once in a while, the 44-ton GE will come up. CSX 68 Orion found a 44-tonner. That is an interesting locomotive. I don't call it an industrial switcher, even though it's a center cab and even though its tonnage would be appropriate for a switcher. Here's what happened. Fact check me on this. If I'm wrong, please point it out. The railroad, maybe the FRA, said that locomotives 45 tons and heavier would have to have a full crew. Back in the day, that would have been a fireman, a conductor, and an engineer. So if 45 ton and up has to have a crew of 3, what likely or logically would a small railroad want to eliminate one person's wages, overhead, etc., by having a 44-ton locomotive? So GE came out with a 44-ton locomotive. While they were doing that, they thought, well, if it's going to short lines, branch lines, let's make a more appropriate locomotive for that type thing. The 44-ton GE is the result of that thinking. It's got 4 traction motors instead of 2, which would be a 45-ton, and it's a faster locomotive. So it's not ideal for switching in any means. Now, I hope I don't miss his name. One of the subscribers talked about the heads on the 44-ton, meaning the Caterpillar engine that they put in that was called a D17000. Where they got the number 17,000, I don't know. But the D17000 had what was called eggshell cylinder heads. They would crack so easily. So when I hear somebody say, watch out for the heads on a GE 44-tonner, I know this guy knows what he's talking about. I wish everybody thought that when I talk, but it's not always so. Mike Skinner found a 70-tonner that is a GE, more of a branch line locomotive. The cab is at one end. It had a big Cooper Bessemer engine in it. I think a 6FL, FLW, something like that. Those are hard to find parts for. Its older brother was a 95-ton GE, which is an industrial switcher, had a lot of capacity. Joseph Brantner says military surplus. I've bought several military surplus locomotives. The two right on the top of my head, I bought a 45-ton General Electric side rod from the Navy, and it was in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Brought it to where we worked on them. It went to a grain terminal in South Charleston, Ohio, Landmark. It was painted black and had the big red L on it. And that locomotive right now is at a tourist line in southern Ohio. I don't own it any longer. That's gone on to serve in the tourist industry. The other one was, I bought an 80-ton GE that was in Tinker Air Force Base, which is right outside Oklahoma City. And the reason the locomotive was for sale, they had stopped using rail. The reason they stopped using rail is the bridge was condemned that went over a creek or a river into the Air Force Base. So the locomotive was landlocked. Well, our goal was to ship this locomotive out in a gondola, and that meant we had to truck it out of the Air Force Base 2 miles to the railroad yard, pick it up, put it on a gondola, in a gondola, tie it down, and we sent it to Phoenix where we leased it out. So the day that we shipped this thing, I had arranged crane and trucking, and 3 cranes, a big one on one end and 2 on the corners in the back. And this guy rolls in with a 50-ton lowboy, which must have been a triaxle, but it might have been the tractor was triaxle and the trailer was tandem. And he put 80 tons, the whole locomotive. We didn't take the trucks off, put the whole locomotive on top of that trailer. And I told him, I said, if you get pulled over, I'm going to drive right on by, because I'm not going to jail because you didn't have the proper equipment. Anyway, we trucked it down to the railroad yard, picked it up, put it in the car, tied it down, sent it to Phoenix. So for right now, that's the catch up on subscriber inputs. Always love the stuff you say. Send us whatever you're thinking about. We are at what we'll call the job site. The car was put on this siding so that we could fix it, and you're getting the first view right along with us. That's kind of a oops. That's the door there. This is a single door sliding door, not a plug door, a sliding door. And I wish we could have got here before it fell off. So our goal is going to be to secure that door inside that car. And where they put it, I don't know how we're going to deal with this. I don't think the railroad will accept it sticking out like that. I know they won't. So we used to have a knuckle boom truck that was really, really good at this kind of thing. And that's not what we're driving today. Look at the damage on this corner right here. See, this is the kind of thing. Look at that. It's just a crappy door. And it's not the paper company's problem. This car should be better maintained. So it's going to have to go back to its home shop to get proper repair. We can't repair this here, but what we'll do is secure the door and get it ready to go to its home shop. But it can't, I don't think it can stick out like that. The railroad will never take it. I'm kind of surprised they even moved it over here. So today we're wearing our coveralls. We wear these when we go to derailments and door jobs. Looks more professional. Does have reflective for those of you that commented on reflective. So we're going to get out and assess this. I quite frankly don't know exactly what we're going to do. It's too heavy. We're driving Graham's 350, which doesn't have a crane. We do have come-alongs and stuff. This is going to be an engineering. I feel like the Egyptians moving big blocks around. So we'll start back up here in a little bit while we look at this thing and fuss about it a little bit. Thanks for coming along today. Okay, so today Graham is our safety spotter and caretaker. He's more safety oriented sometimes than others. So he's going out to put out the blue flag, which is a requirement. It tells anybody moving in here that there are men working and stuff going on. I'm going to climb up in the boxcar and see this door is jammed. I got a tape measure with me. We'll see where we're going to try and move it. Wow. Maybe that's a good thing. They've got... So I'm going to walk you over there and take a look at this. We carry these small ladders because they're good for getting up on the truck, and they're also good for examples like this. So this door is jammed in here. So that's kind of precarious, but maybe it's good because it kept it from jamming super stuck hard. Here's an example of the weld I was talking about and what goes wrong with these doors. It's amazing that this thing might even be waterproof. Look where this is jammed. Right on that door locker. Oh. Which might play to our advantage because instead of the whole door being jammed, we can move the door up.
Nice if they put it in here sideways.
Yeah. over inside. We're gonna. These should keep it from going. We're both out of harm's way. We moved the truck. Here it goes. Wrapping up this door job, we would far rather fix the door when it's still hanging on the car. When we got here, the door was in this way and sticking out, which the railroad would have never allowed. It was sticking out 6-8 inches. So we have manipulated that door to where it's going to be. We've got wood blocking up against the wall. Next, we're going to use banding to secure it in the car, both directions. This is quality work, not exactly the way we like to do it. We'd rather fix the door on the car, but securing it in. Now, this will get home shopped. I don't know where the home shop is, but I'll bet this thing doesn't get there for a month. Then it stays there for a month. If we fix it here, the car stays in circulation. They save a bunch of money, but sometimes that's just not the way the industry is set up. So we're going to probably go get some lunch. Before that, we're going to clean all the tools up. What do you guys think about rallies? That sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. It's like a checker. They've got that in some parts of the country. So we're going to clean it all up, band this down, and be done with this job. We're all done with this. We've banded it down. We've got 2 pulling backwards, 2 pulling forward, cribbed against the wall. I really don't think anybody's going to have a problem with this. This boxcar is ready to go back to its home shop, and we're ready to go get some lunch. So we're all done here. We picked up our blue flag. We're looking around the car one last time for tools, cribbing, anything that anybody could find wrong with what we did. That car is ready to go, and we're on to another job.